around there. Good morning, everybody. Keith Engle here for TGI Sports Talks Sunday Stream of Consciousness. It's great to have you all here today. Sorry we missed last week. We had a little family obligation with Father's Day here. Had family in staying with us from out of town, and we had to preempt the show last Sunday. And we do have some vacation coming up. We'll be here the next 2 Sundays, and then it might be a little iffy the following Sunday. Maybe only one in jeopardy. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Don't know. We're going to be in Alaska on a cruise. We'll see how it goes, but I'll talk about that more. I want to welcome everybody watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. All the groups that allow us to share this, the dozens and dozens and dozens of groups that allow us to share and get the views that we get. We appreciate that. You're more than welcome to comment, and we'll try to follow up on those comments later. Today, we'll follow up on them in real time, obviously. And we want some of the favorite groups are always scrolling at the bottom of the screen. John Gonzalez from the Sports Authorities, Greg Rawlings from America's Pastime, Bottom Line Sports with Flo and Can, and Christopher. Try to include you now, Christopher. What else? Let's Talk Sports. Ken Krause over at Golf Buds, Sports of All Sorts. And a quick shout out to Ralph Williams at RW Media. Ralph does some great stuff out of Ocean City, Maryland. Pittsburgh Focus, National Footprint. Watch specifically the Sports Corner from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern every Tuesday with Smoking Jim Frazier. And I've been a guest on that show and always have fun. This is your show. Bring out those comments and we'll get started. We got a lot to cover today, and I got a few things to throw out. Hello, CA. Good to have you with us. And JB's with us. The Back It Up Binge podcast. Going to have Doug Flynn on pretty soon. And he had a surprise caller, as we found out during the MLB update the other day. Doug Flynn is a great guy and a great interview, by the way. Got a lot to talk about. The World Cup. USA into the knockout round next Wednesday, late, because they're playing all their games on the West Coast unless they make the final. They'll play Bosnia on Wednesday. Messi and Ronaldo, big stories individually, I guess, especially Messi. Another goal yesterday for Argentina. That's the first goal, I think, that Argentina, first game Argentina had other people score besides Messi. It feels like. Some arguments about the expansion to 48, by the way, although there's some great stories of teams that have never had a chance to get in there, like Cape Verde, who played well. I don't know if I think they made it to the knockout round. I have to take a look at that. Major League Baseball, Yankees getting swept so far by Boston, not scoring any runs. The left-handers on Boston have been doing a great job on the Yankee offense, and the kids are not stepping up. Nobody's stepping up to replace Judge's bat and some others. What is this? I can't even read what I wrote here. Anyway, the Dodgers continue to roll. Story today I was reading about Tucker. The Dodgers, I talked about this for a Sunday or Friday. They hadn't even hit they've had injuries. They've had Tucker not playing well, 700 OPS, not good for a $50 million ball player. But they still continue to roll with the best record in baseball. Cole Reagans is going to get arm surgery. The plethora of pitching injuries continues, and Major League Baseball will do nothing to change what they've really caused. In my mind, the way pitchers are dealt with, are trained, and then are handled by the organizations from the minute they get there is what's behind all these injuries. And I'm not going to back off that statement even a little bit. Mizorowski with another great game, and 105 he hits on the radar gun this time. He keeps going higher. Hopefully he doesn't hurt his arm. Blue Jays have lost 5 in a row. There's a lot to talk about in Major League Baseball. I wish I could read that. Goodman for the Rockies yesterday hits 3 home runs. He's got 25 homers. He's going to chase 60 home runs. He's going to chase what Cal Raleigh did as a catcher last year. DH yesterday. The NFL, Brandon Sorsby. No NFL supplemental draft this year. Sorsby is technically banned for now. They can't necessarily stop him from entering the the common draft next spring, but he's going to have sat out a whole year. It's going to hurt. OJ is going to be left out of the new Bills stadium. There'll be no references to OJ and his tremendous career for obvious reasons. Ayuk still being a nut job in San Francisco, blaming his agent for everything that's gone wrong there, but he continues to burn down the whole organization. Who's taking on this guy? We got Teron Arnold charged with kidnapping and facing potential life in prison. Geno Smith being investigated for battery charges. The NBA, we had the draft this week. We can talk about, listen, I think the Lakers got to steal Cameron Carr, by the way. Best pick of the draft outside of the main guys. I thought they got the best value at 24. They traded up, took the next pick. Cameron Carr is going to be a very fine player in that system out there. We got free agency starting. We got some big names in free agency, too, and big trades. Giannis traded this week. LaMelo traded this week. Jaylen Brown attempted to be traded at least twice that we know of, and is also being supposedly downgraded by analytics, the analytics that a lot of teams use. But analytics are what we think they are. The Cavs would be in the NBA Finals if it was just up to analytics. The WNBA, Caitlin Clark. Does Caitlin Clark bring on some of the issues that happened to her? Is this a racial thing? Is it because she's white and she's straight, or is it just are players jealous and it wouldn't matter if she was black or gay? And Caitlin Clark brings some of this on herself. She does a lot of play acting. I'm not saying this latest affront to her with the fist to the throat, it wasn't a punch. I mean, some pretty good pressure was being applied, but you would have thought she was having her head cut off with a chainsaw. And I'm not condoning the way that she's been treated here, but does she bring some of it on herself with her own attitudes? And does the league like this supposed racial divide, which might be overplayed? I don't know, but we can dive into that if you like. And my opinion will be what it'll be. NCAA football, OU wins the College World Series over Carolina. And Trinidad Chambliss, Jack Hirsch's favorite quarterback, pushed back on Lane Kiffin's talk about how difficult it is to recruit at Oxford, Mississippi because of their past racial issues, if you will, and their until recently anyway, their flying of Confederate flags and that sort of thing. He pushed back and said, no, Oxford's a great place to be. So that's interesting. And he's a black man, by the way. So there's that. There's Phil Mickelson, at one time my favorite golfer, until he blew up the PGA tried to blow up the PGA by going to live. And his life is off the rails right now. And Wimbledon will start this week, and Serena Williams is back after a long layoff to play singles and play doubles with her sister. So there's lots to talk about, and I'm willing to talk about anything you guys want to talk about. So it's out there. That's a lot. And we can talk about any of that and anything else you guys want to talk about. It's your show. Thank you, CA. Danny Fuller, good morning, my friend. Not a NBA fan, JB is. Casual, but me too. Casual because of one player, CC. What is this league doing to pluck the golden goose is comical to watch. I don't know if it's plucking the golden goose, though. I think the league wants this. Is there more? Think about this. And again, I'm not saying they're blatantly, well, not blatantly, passive aggressively anyway. I think they're happy about this publicity, this Caitlin Clark against the league type thing. Because if there wasn't this animosity, if there wasn't this, again, both sides perceive a double standard. One side thinks she gets the benefit of the doubt from referees and from the league, and she's the golden child, and it's because she's white. And the other side says she's being treated differently. And her side, I guess, is saying she's being manhandled because of who she is and whatnot. Both things could be true, I suppose. And I think in a way the league is happy. Publicity most publicity, and again, it's an old saying, right? And I don't know if I agree with it entirely, that the only bad publicity is no publicity. I think the league gets more publicity because of these antics and this animosity because of CC than it would if she was just out there running amok in the league. She does bring bigger crowds than they have when she's not in an arena. There's no doubt about that. Is it a racial thing? I don't know. I would like to think we're past this in this country, but we likely aren't. At least not covertly. My entire life, by the way, I've had bigger problems with covert racism than overt racism. If you're true to who you are and you don't try to hide it in other ways. I've seen this up close, by the way, not to me, obviously, but in other regards, and been involved with it in organizations where, they were lily white, by the way, and I helped change that. And I was chastised behind my back, mostly. In any event, that's not about me. All the above on CC. The WNBA seems to want to kill the goose that laid the golden egg. I'm not sure about that. Again, they want to kill. If you mean they want to hurt CC, I think the animosity of the league is buying into, by the way, because I think it's giving them better publicity, not better, more publicity than they would get otherwise. I'm not sure. Her teammates, I think this year, seemed to come to her aid a little bit more than they did last year, although I didn't see anybody rushing to her aid the other night. Good morning, Joe LaRusso. How are you? Joe is hosting a Jimmy Fund event on 7/12/26. You guys can certainly look to register for that. Lots of great prizes that we've posted on the site a couple of times, and we will do again. And Joe, you're certainly welcome to post them here as well. Good morning, Jeremy. How are you, my friend? I figured it out now. KCBS Sports Network is Jeremy B. from Detroit. Good to have you. Absolutely share it, Joe, for sure. And we'll put up the poster again. I meant to download it so I could post it during the show today, and I forgot. That's on me. So we'll make sure that we do it this coming week. Fever was on national TV last night without her playing, killed ratings. I don't know. What were the ratings? It seems a little early to have, well, I guess we get overnight ratings, right? Let's say WNBA NBA ratings for national. What were they on, by the way? ABC? Let me see what I can find here, Rick. It does. Well, listen, 1.7 million viewers. It stands as one of the highest rated regular season broadcasts of the year, trailing only Fever and Liberty, 2.6. Well, again, I guess there's a drop off, right? So your point is valid, I think, Rick. If we talk about earlier in the year, the Fever and Liberty. Now, you got to remember you have the New York audience for that as well. And the Wings and Fever. I don't know where the Wings play off the top of my head. That was the opening weekend, 2.5. Didn't she miss the first part of the season, though? I'm not sure. So anyway, from 2.6 to 1.7 is certainly a significant drop. Still more highly rated than most of theirs. Listen, I think I'm clear on the fact that I think the WNBA, and again, some of you have asked me why I haven't been more vocal, say, on the Wednesday roundtable show. Quite frankly, because Bo's deeply entrenched, career-wise with the WNBA and trying to make something. So I haven't wanted to, harsh his buzz, if you will. So I don't say much at all. I've asked a few questions, but don't necessarily give my strongest opinion. I think the WNBA is going too fast. I think They've expanded too much. They plan to expand again next year. Too much, too fast. I know they've been in business 30 years. They just had their 30th anniversary. They do have a key TV contract now, but again, the salaries have jumped exponentially. They want to expand their schedule next year. The league made money for the first time ever last year, and I think maybe you need to make money a few years because that's the first year they made money and the NBA didn't lose on their subsidizing of the WNBA. Caitlin Clark is the golden goose. I do think, again, that the WNBA, and I guess both things can be true. I can be right and you guys can be right that they're going to kill the golden goose. I think right now they're getting more publicity because of the animosity between the league and Caitlin Clark. And by the way, she's not an angel. Let's not forget, again, you watch her, there's a lot of overreacting to some of the fouls, and there's some very hard fouls, don't get me wrong. But she does a lot of, she might have she might have a future as a bad actor somewhere. She's also feuded with her coach this year. So look, at Caitlin Clark is not some, goody two shoes that we should like kneel down and worship. The league probably should, because yes, she's brought people here, and they likely would not have this TV contract, and their salaries likely would not have increased as much as they have. Maybe they would have increased somewhat. They wouldn't be expanding. Well, maybe they'd be expanding. I don't know. All of this stuff wouldn't be going so fast if Caitlin Clark hadn't come to the league 2 years ago. Caitlin Clark's the face of the league. She is the one thing most of the league despises, white and straight. Agreed. That's what I said earlier. And again, I think the league is kind of looked the other way a little bit. Not that they don't suspend. And this woman the other night, she gets suspended for the fist in her throat. But I think for the most part, the league is kind of welcoming this animosity. Well, that's another problem as well. We all know that players, listen, I think you should be able to say anything you want necessarily within reason, and not be ostracized for it. I mean, she shouldn't be ostracized because she's white. She shouldn't be ostracized, white or black. Nobody should be ostracized. Gay or straight, nobody needs to be ostracized. Christian or atheist, you don't need to be ostracized. She doesn't handle it all that well either, by the way. Again, she does her own I think she does her own. She holds up her own end as far as keeping this animosity alive. That's just my opinion. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just stating an opinion, which to me, we had a little debate about what's fact and what's opinion. I guess there's no way for me to say that's fact. I mean, if you watch her and her antics, she does a lot of she does a lot of in-your-face stuff as well, and I think it's fine. If you're a sports fan, if you're a sport like the WNBA that has to rely on the WWF type antics to hype the league, tells you all you need to know about the product. I don't disagree. They were on CBS. Hang on one second. I know I got myself distracted there. Is the product bad? I don't watch enough of it, quite frankly, because I'm not a fan. I know I'm a misogynist. I know that, of course, but that's been well established on this show, at least in some people's minds. But I'm not a fan of women's basketball, so I don't watch. I don't watch Caitlin Clark or anybody. Do I watch highlights? Yes. Do I turn on a little bit of a game? Yes. Have I ever watched a game start to finish? No. I've never sat and watched it like an entire half or quarter of WNBA basketball, and I'm not likely to. But, I mean, I think the product isn't awful. So I was on CBS last night. I went to bed last night, 7 o'clock, by the way. was tired. Been a long couple of weeks, and I don't know what it was. The heat, something got to me, man. I was just like wiped out. Feel better today. 12 hours sleep will do that. Well, 10 hours. Lower the hoop to 9 feet. That way the women can dunk. That would draw more people. At the end of the day, and Jeremy's not wrong, and JB is not wrong, the product needs to carry itself. You can't rely on, again, to use JB's terminology, a WWF attitude, whether it be roughhousing on the court. That sounds like an old-fashioned word, right? Physical play on the court, or whether it be player animosity. I mean, that's very WWF, the way they play up these storylines. At the end of the day, if the product isn't good, they will flounder. And I wonder, again, they're going very fast. The last 2 years, more money for the players. God bless them. Again, if somebody's willing to pay you, I have no problem with that. But if you go out of business because of it, don't come crying to me. Expansion, too much expansion. You don't have enough good players. The product suffers already in a lot of cases. You've got one person who's driving attendance on TV and in person. Not that some of these games aren't getting decent crowds, but again, when they're bigger, when one person's there, that's a bad sign. And then the expanding the schedule. It's a lot in 2 years to jump. Now, you should do these things in more incremental pieces. I do tell Bo, but I don't go out of my way to hit him over the head with it, right? I ask him questions with my doubts about what they're doing. And again, pretty much what I just said, going too fast. But I'm not going to sit here and rail on it like I will here for, the last 20 minutes. I won't get in a debate with him. Again, it's his career and he feels very strongly, and I'm going to respect that. I mean, at the same time, I'll respectfully disagree without, being disrespectful. That's a bit redundant. And I do know what Bo thinks. We've talked about it a lot on the Wednesday roundtable. So that's what I'm talking about, Rick, is the fact that I know exactly what he thinks. He thinks that this league is on a pace to become a huge league, and that at any other league, and he's not necessarily wrong. I mean, you can't talk about baseball, but football, NBA basketball, they all took decades to really become entrenched in the American consciousness. And I mean, football wasn't that popular until about 1958 in the famous overtime game of the Colts and Giants. It existed. People made a living, but they weren't anywhere close to baseball at the time. The NBA wasn't, of course. I mean, I think you could make an argument in certain regions of this country. The NHL was bigger than the NBA and the NFL. I'm talking about the 40s and 50s, by the way. I'm not talking about 60s, 70s, and past. I guess that's a fair comparison. I mean, she, and again, defense, rebounding, that's her game, right? She's not a shooter. She's not an offensive player. She gets a fair amount of points, most of it on inside shots and offensive rebounds, and she's very physical. So you could call her the female Bill Laimbeer, and I think that's fair. And listen, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark coming in the league together obviously propelled this story and this us against them, or Caitlin against the world thing. I think it moved that narrative even, or entrenched that narrative even more. So, I mean, I still have my doubts that and again, it's about the product at the end of the day, right? They can do all of this and build up all this stuff. So again, when I say the league has kind of embraced this Caitlin Clark against the world narrative, I don't necessarily think that's a good thing for the long run, and that the product needs to be better and they can survive. Hello again, Joe. How are you again? I like the WNBA actual more fundamentally sound basketball. They actually play defense, unlike the NBA. Oh, I disagree with that, by the way. I don't. To say that the play is better than the NBA is, I think, I know what you're getting at. There are a lot of the Knicks won because of defense. The Knicks play great defense. Defense looks different in the NBA than it would have looked in the 70s. That's why, right? Because you've got all these great athletes, and the game is different with the 3-point shot. And I've made this argument a lot of times. The teams that are really good don't rely on just coming down the court and throwing up 3-pointers. They move the basketball. When the Knicks are really good, watch them move the basketball. When I've talked about this forever. When the Warriors were really good, watch them move the basketball. The Knicks, again, sometimes it would devolve into one-on-one with Jalen Brunson against 5 guys. But when the Knicks are playing really well, they're moving the basketball and they're getting an open 3-pointer. That's the difference between the game now and the game in the 70s, let's say, and the 70s Knicks, which I'll use for an example. And I know only a few of us are old enough to remember. They were moving the basketball to get an open 12 or 15-footer. Now they're looking to get an open 22-footer. But the Knicks probably shoot less threes than most of the teams in the league. And some of these teams play pretty good defense. Some don't. The Spurs are a pretty good defensive basketball team. It just looks different because of the athletes today are better than the athletes were 40 years ago. And the game's changed. I mean, there's nights I don't like it, Jeremy, quite frankly. But when we get to the playoffs, you usually see it ratchet up a notch. And again, the Spurs lost because they get big leads and keep throwing up 3-pointers. The Celtics don't win because they have no offense outside of throwing up 3-pointers. So there are certainly instances where the game is not good and teams lose. But the Knicks won because they have great chemistry and they played good defense, and for the most part didn't rely on one-on-one basketball. Technically, by the numbers, WNBA players make more than a higher percentage, I'm guessing, of the revenue you're talking about than the NBA. That's why the NBA has to fund the owners. They're not now, I don't think. I mean, they have a TV contract, so I don't know that the NBA is – I don't know if that subsidy is even still in play. You might know better than me. I'm not going to make a comment either way. I don't know. But they did make money last year. The golden goose of anything, including women's sports, is honest truth. A polished turd still smells bad. That's fair. That's fair. CA does come up with some very good quotes. I don't know what that means. 19.6 what? Who's that? Is that we're talking about 3-point percentage, overall shooting percentage, and is it a team or some player? I'm not sure where we're going there, Jeremy. Me bound star. Not sure exactly what we got there either. I'm having a little trouble with comprehension this morning. I apologize. Hello, Michael. Michael Gott from over in the UK. So we have several countries in play this morning. We like to see that. Good to have you with us. Right now we're talking about Caitlin Clark, but we can talk anything from World Cup to is England still? Did England survive to the knockout round? Good question for Michael. We got some Major League Baseball stories. We got some stories in the NFL, NBA. I am excellent, Joe. About 11 hours sleep last night, so I'm feeling great. A little run down yesterday. 66 years old. I've been on the go too much, I guess. I got to slow down. And yet I got a busy, whoops. Hold on one second. I got a busy month coming up, man. So I got 4 days of golf this week, rain allowing. We got a company coming in from Connecticut for the weekend, for the holiday. We're off to Alaska, well, Seattle, then Alaska on next Tuesday. And something's going on the end of the month when we get back. I have no idea. Hell, it's changed less than 15 years ago. Most of the teams play defense horribly. The teams that win, though, can play defense. I think. You can always find 4 teams that play defense, 2 in the East, 2 in the West. And they're the teams that are winning. So, I mean, overall, I don't disagree. Overall, the product is probably not as good as it was, I don't know, about 15 years ago. I've found ways to enjoy the product. There's times that I don't. I mean, when the Knicks were horrible and shooting up 3-pointers, they were tough to watch. Any team that's coming down, the Celtics are hard to watch. I don't think, but I think the NBA this year, again, maybe I'm biased because of the Knicks. I don't know. I mean, I thought this was an exciting playoff run. The Western Conference had some exciting series. I think there was some defense being played out there. We can continue to argue that. So the NBA still has 25% subsidy. I guess it's never getting paid back, right? Because they made money 1 year. Even just reading about the NBA is very sore on the eyes. Yeah, I bring this, and I agree, Danny. I bring this up strictly from the standpoint of the league being viable and the Caitlin Clark impact or detriment. Again, I'm not a big fan of the league. I'm not a big fan of the play. I'm not a big fan of Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese. They haven't won me over. And I don't know who's watching. I don't know who these 1.7 million that we're watching. Is it all women? What's the demographic of that? Does anybody know that? I am curious what the demographic is of these people that are watching. Let me see if this article tells me anything. So Saturday's game, and it does appear she played last night, by the way. You said she didn't play, Rick? She played in this game. There's a picture of her. Let me check this out. Let me just see what she did last night. Maybe she didn't. I don't know. Maybe this picture's wrong. Indiana Fever. No, you're right. She didn't play. So the article I'm reading, Caitlin Clark did not play back. This picture then is misleading because it's stated it was from last night. Oh, 19.6 overall for Angel Reese in her first year. That's pretty bad. I have to fact check only because that's what I do. Don't take it personally, Jeremy. Because I don't know, and I don't like to repeat things that aren't accurate. So I just want to check and see. Probably not going to get anything there. So we don't have a reference for. Kind of sucks, right? All right. So her first year, by the way, her shooting percentage was overall was 39%, which is still pretty bad, by the way. She was 18.8% from 3-point land. It's gotten worse. For 3-point, it was her second year was 18.2, and this year it's 10%. But her overall field goal percentage has gone up 39, 45, 40. Well, now it's down to 41. So I just want to be clear again, her overall shooting percentage was not 19.6. I'm looking for a 19.6 here. I can't find it anywhere. Now she did average 13 points, 14 points, 14 points this year. But defense, that's her game. Defense and rebounding. It's not good, no matter how you look at it. So, Danny wants to get to MLB. We can do that. Which MLB teams in each division will be overtaken after the All-Star break? That's a good question, Danny. I think Jack and I will attack that question on Monday, by the way. I wanted to look at our overall predictions. I think I remember mine, but I've lost my piece of paper. Ugh. Anyway. I think the Rays or the Yankees are going to win the East, so they're tied right now, so I don't think anybody's going to overtake them. If somebody's going to make a run, it's going to be the Blue Jays, but they are 9.5 behind. The White Sox, I'm not sure are for real. They're 5 games over 500 with a 1-game lead on the Guardians. Tigers don't look like they've got a run in them. They're 9 back still and 13 under 500. I got to believe the Guardians have a very good chance to catch the White Sox. The Mariners have gone into first place even at 500 in the West, and I think they maintain that. The Rangers, the Astros, the Athletics, I think are all still too inconsistent. And the Angels are the Angels. They will never win as long as Artie Moreno owns that team. I think the Phillies have a pretty good chance of catching the Braves. If the Braves don't get healthy, if Acuna doesn't get healthy and the pitching staff doesn't stay healthy, Sale's been healthy-ish, but Strider's hurt. Strider's on a 60-day disable. I don't know that he's coming back. Nobody else is going to make a run there. Phillies have a very good chance of running down the Braves, I think, and probably the team with the best chance to give the Dodgers trouble. The Brewers have surprised me. I thought they'd take a little step back this year, but they're 20 games over 500 and 6.5 ahead of the Cubs. Cubs, Cardinals, Pirates, Reds, all way too inconsistent, I think, to make a serious run at this division. I think the Brewers win it. And the Dodgers aren't going to lose. I mean, the Padres, Diamondbacks, very inconsistent. The Giants, a huge disappointment, at least to me. And the Dodgers, again, best record in baseball, 9-game lead, and I really don't think they've even been hitting on all cylinders yet. I talked about this Friday. I don't think they're hitting on all cylinders. The team to watch in the National League is far and away better than the American League. There's 4 teams over 500 in the American League. 4 teams. That's not great. That's not even good. National League is much better. And right now, if you put a gun to my head, I'd say the Dodgers, the Phillies will win the championship. Yankees, with their pitching, if their pitching stays healthy, they're going to be a tough out in the playoffs, but they got to score runs. They've got to get Judge healthy. There's no reason to rush him back. I've said for a while I don't think Judge will be back till the middle to end of August. Gives him a month to get himself situated before the playoffs. They cannot win in the playoffs without Judge. They've kept their head above water until recently, but the offense right now is really struggling. That right-handed lineup of the Yankees against lefties is atrocious. And your Dodgers, Danny, again, they continue to, Tucker struggled mightily. He's hitting like 238. His slugging is, I don't know, 3 something. His total OPS is like 700. That's not what they paid for, but they've been overcome that. They've overcome Mookie Betts being out for significant periods. They've overcome, Freeman not being Freeman anymore. His decline has started. He's still a really good player. They were without Max Muncy for a long time. They've had a lot of guys in and out of the lineup. They've survived Diaz being an absolute disaster before he got hurt and out for the season. Said it Friday. The good teams separate themselves when players get hurt and how they step up with bench players and whatnot. Good morning, Donna. Happy Sunday to you. We did have a great time on our little mini vacation, and we got a long vacation coming up in a couple of weeks to Alaska. But for those who don't remember or didn't see, we stepped away this week for a couple of nights and 3 days in Schroon Lake, which is only about an hour and a half away. But we spent some time at a beautiful bread and breakfast, the Lock House Inn, and you guys in the area or ever come to upstate New York, if you like the bed and breakfast experience, you're never going to have a better one than the Lock House Inn. Heather and Rick there are just amazing hosts. The accommodations are wonderful. The food, the breakfast was outstanding. They are very nice people. Some of the nicest people I've met in my 66 years, and engaging conversation around the property when we were there. It's right on the lake. You can see the lake from there. And we went over to Ticonderoga to the old fort, saw some cannon demonstrations, musket demonstrations, went up to Mount Defiance and looked over Lake Champlain all the way to Vermont. You feel like you can see all the way to Montreal from there. You can't because it's a little ways yet. But went to the Star Trek experience, which there's a guy who's rebuilt like every set from the original series Enterprise. Really cool, man. I got to tell you, I was geeking out. So a lot of fun. But thank you, Donna. Kindness without truth is superficial and counterproductive. That's why I'm not kind to anybody. True. I've been found out as, phony when it comes to my hard-assness sometimes. But good morning, Matt. Good to have you with us. Let's pull a random card we've gotten from Matt. Again, we know that Matt has given us cards over the years. Here's today's random card. Who can tell me who that is? I won't give his name out. Who can tell me who that is? Matt knows. You're not allowed to answer. One of my favorites. England isn't around at 32. They play the Congo next. Thank you, Rick. How many new countries? Let me see. How many first-time? Let me see how this first-time World Cup teams advanced. Let's see. I don't know if I'm going to get the answer to this or not. Cape Verde did. I may not say, and I may not. Oh, Cabo Verde advanced by finishing second in the Group H. They made the tournament history as the first World Cup debutant since 2010 to reach the knockout stage. Bosnia and Herzegovina advanced as one of the best third-place teams. These were all first-time participants. Canada advanced and Ivory Coast advanced. So, again, there's been some debate over this. Some of these coaches and whatnot think it's been led to some lackluster play. There's been a record number of goals scored already in this World Cup, but there's also been more games. But some of the diehards have really been ripping the expansion to 48 teams. But 4 of those new entries advanced. That's pretty cool. Big story in these countries. The other thing I want to say about this and the World Cup before I move on is these fans from outside the U.S. overwhelmingly have talked gloriously about this country and the different venues that they're at, and the cities that they're hanging out in, and partying and going to dinner and having a drinking and sightseeing and doing whatever. Many of them have been interviewed and talked about how they didn't expect this type of treatment or this type of experience based on what they've seen and heard about this country from whatever sources. So take that for what it's worth. Angels finally fired the GM. Let's see how that works out. They do have an interim right now. Who is it that they fired? I can't even say his name, but Mozoliak is the new John Mozoliak is the new GM, temporary interim GM. We'll see how that works out. Is it going to matter though, Danny? As long as Artie Moreno is there, are the Angels ever going to win? No, I don't think so, because he doesn't even think winning matters to fans. I know I'm beating a dead horse here, but when Artie Moreno, your owner, says that winning isn't in the top 5 priorities of fans, I know all I need to know about that team and why they don't win. What's Friday night? Oh, last night, Friday night. You must be talking about the game. I thought it was last night. My bad. I watched very little network TV, so I couldn't even run across that. Friday night, we would have been watching. What were we watching? I don't know what we were watching. Oh, Sugar's back. Sugar's back on Apple and Star City. Star City, by the way, and I know I've talked about this in the past because this is a part of the show, I guess, where I talk about our TV viewing. For All Mankind is one of my favorite shows of the last decade, about the moon race, alternate history of the moon race, and then the Mars and past Mars. But it's been on, I think there's been 5 seasons. I think there's one more to come. And now they've got a new series called Star City, which is looking at the same time frame, alternate history, from the Russian standpoint. It's a far different show, but it's really good. So we enjoyed that. And Sugar is a show starring Colin Farrell, which threw me for a loop last year because it seemed like a detective story, almost like film noir. But he turns out he's an alien. It's a really good show, by the way. England is through to the knockout stage after winning 2-0 against Panama. We now play a low-caliber DR Congo in the knockout after we finish top of our group. Good job. Problem is we have problems with lower teams because they play a low block. With all their players constantly behind the ball, making it hard to break them down and play an expansive game. So I'm guessing we're talking about teams just holding the ball, right? Similar to what the Devils do or used to do in hockey when they were winning championships. Is that fair? You probably don't know maybe you don't know the analogy, Michael. Well, Grisham wasn't hitting anyway. Stanton was supposed to come back by now, and he is not back. Grisham's closest to coming back. I think Judge is going to be out till like into late August, as I said. But that the right-handed lineup is horrendous. They got one hit. What did they get? One hit against Toll the other night? Something like that. Just not and I got to tell you too, Friday night, So Friday night, Wilson Contreras gets hit and creates an issue that didn't need to be there. Some of these guys drive me nuts. If you watch him, his elbow's just about in the strike zone all the time. Where are you supposed to throw the frickin' ball? And then he takes exception to getting hit. These guys could never survive an old school baseball. A bunch of entitled, over, what's the word I'm looking for? They're babies. They don't know how the game's played. First of all, you don't freaking hang out over the plate. I wonder if I can find that situation. You tell me what he is supposed to do. I don't know if I can find it or not. I'm going to try real quick. Maybe if I spell his name right, it'll help. Let me see if I can find it. If I will, I'll play you the video. Because it's ridiculous. This guy causing a problem, taking exception, being offended to getting hit. Let's see if I can play this. They've hit him 6 times. Oh, this is Milwaukee. This isn't. He's had problems a couple of times. He had problems with the Yankees the other night. I wanted to find a video of that, but I'm not finding it. Cardinals. He got hit. He's been hit 6 times by Brendan Woodruff, by the way, in his career. But if you look at and this isn't the Yankee one, so I'm not going to show it. But the guy's got his elbows over the freaking plate. Where do you should be expecting to get hit? Sorry. You want to take that much of the plate, you're going to get hit. I'm sure there'll be apologists who say, you should never hit somebody. You might hurt somebody. Well, don't hang over the freaking plate. The Astros were horrendous early in the year, CA, and for them to have, and again, it shows you how bad the American League is, by the way. For them to be only a game and a half out of first, and if the wild card, if the season ended today, they'd be just 1 game behind in the wild card race. The Rangers would be in a game under 500. That's how bad the American League is. I mean, every team's within 7.5, even teams that are 16.5 or 16 games under 500. They're only 7 games out of the wild card. That's how bad the American League is. Good God. So they played well the last, month. You have not seen that. And again, I think I was giving you guys a compliment when I said that. Because they've had a lot of injuries. They've had guys struggling like Kyle Tucker. And here they are still with the best record in baseball. And the Phillies are playing great. The Phillies are now like 37-18 or 38-17, something like that, under Donnie Mattingly since he took over. I really hated to see Rob Thompson get fired because he's one of my favorite managers in baseball, and I was glad he finally got a shot. Yankees should have given him a shot, by the way, when he was the bench coach when they fired Joe Girardi and hired Aaron Boone. But we don't want to get into that whole mess. Speaking of managers, by the way, Fernando Mendoza gets fired this week by the Mets, and that's a travesty as well. So the manager's going to get fired. I get it. But David Stearns put this team together badly. There's no, and don't tell me it doesn't matter that there's no chemistry on this team, because chemistry does matter. Look at the Knicks this year in the NBA. Tells you all you need to know. Teams with bad chemistry don't win. But there's bad chemistry, There's bad fundamental baseball. There's bad defense. There's bad offense. It's just bad all the way around. And the players, by the way, there was a report yesterday that afterwards a reporter went in and asked a group of players, what they felt about Mendoza getting fired, and the silence was deafening. Well, they should speak up and say he shouldn't have got fired because we stink. David Stearns put this mess together, and he's still there. And he's probably going to get a chance to hire another manager. And he better get it right. But it really doesn't matter if he gets it right if he doesn't make better moves on the field. And again, not the biggest Pete Alonso fan, but you tell me how it's worked out getting rid of Alonso, Nemo, and McNeil. And who else? Three of the most popular players on the team fan-wise. You replace Alonso, who, again, I'm not the biggest fan of, but you can't replace him with a guy who never played first base. And now he's hurt. Rob Thompson may get an interview there. If I were to go to the NL board and you had power to change things, what would you change? If I could, change anything in baseball? Oh, God, it's a long list. If I was on the NL board, had the power to change one thing, I won't give the answer that Danny thinks I'm going to give. I'd go back and do away with 3 divisions. I'd go back to 2 divisions in each league, and the 2 winners play to get to the World Series. Get rid of all these freaking wild cards that we don't need. I know 8%, what I say, Danny, no, 30% of the and again, wild card teams do win. They've won almost 30% of the time since 1997. We talked about this on Friday. But the wild cards today don't compare to those teams. If you have to have a wild card, again, 162 games should be time to prove you're the best teams to get the opportunity to advance to the World Series. Playing well for a month in October and November now doesn't tell me that the best team is going to win. There's other things I would do too, because I would get rid of instant replay. I really would, because it's been bastardized beyond belief. I know we want to get the calls right, Danny. I know that, but the whole thing's been bastardized. And I find it, and again, this just struck me during Friday's conversation. I find it remarkable that we feel the need to get every call right, including, balls and strikes that, in past years wouldn't even been thought about. Except in big moments, then we think about it. But during the course of the game, every time there's something that's a little bit off, we have to challenge it. We're all wrapped up in that, fixing even the smallest mistake. But we still allow teams to play to get in the World Series that may not have been the best over 160, or even close to being the best over 162 games. We're likely going to, there's a chance we're going to let teams compete that are below 500 for a chance to get to the World Series and win it. I might root for those teams if the Yankees are out, just so that we can see how stupid it is to let all these teams in the playoffs. But that's okay. We have to get every single call right, but we don't have to get it right about getting the right teams competing for a chance to win a World Series. It just seems a little, crazy. Mexico versus England will be, when will that game be? Do I have a World Cup bracket here? Any golf fans out there, by the way? Is anybody as disappointed in Phil Mickelson and his life being off the rails as I am? Maybe we just don't care. See what this bracket looks like in around 32. So Germany, Paraguay, So you could get Germany and France, and if I'm looking at this right, you could get Germany and France in a round of 16. That'd be huge. You could get Spain and Portugal. USA is going to get Belgium or the Senegal. Belgium, I think, is probably pretty good. It looks to me like the USA's got a real good chance to get to the round of 8. Norway's still in there with their great rowing cheer. Mexico and England, as CA points out, could be in a round of 16. Argentina will play the Cinderella Cabo Verde team. Probably going through to the final 8. And you could get maybe Colombia against Algeria. I don't know how good Algeria or Switzerland is. There's some interesting matchups here. Germany and France playing in a round of 16. That's like a semifinal matchup. Artie just wants to fill his pockets. Surprised the fans still show up. Oh, that's because they don't care about winning, according to Artie, Matt. They care about safety and entertainment and prices and 2 other things that don't include winning. Artie's a moron. How far behind am I, by the way? Speaking of morons. We're about 15 minutes behind. That's not terrible. Apparently, a few bars in Boston have shut down because they made their quota of money for the year. No, they ran out of beer. I don't think they shut down because they made their quota. They did talk about how they made more money during that 2-week period than they made, like for an entire 6 months. But they drank them out of beer a couple of times, as you say in your next comment. I'm not sure they shut down because who's ever made enough money and shut down? That'd be crazy. If you're right, Michael, I apologize. But in this country, I'd be shocked if somebody sat down saying, we made enough money. But the Scottish, they did drink them out of some beers in Boston for sure. And they get special deliveries. So, I think the best 2 fan bases so far have been Scotland and Norway. Anybody want to refute that? It would be ironic if they were selling rally monkeys at Angel Stadium, CA. I will find you. I just added that to my. List the other day because I saw the star. Can't remember his name now. Interviewed someplace, but I have that on our list. Right now we're watching the Burrows, which is kind of like Stranger Things for retirees. But Albert Molina's in it, and I like him a lot. It's really a good cast of older actors. It's kind of cool. It's an interesting premise. I just found out it got canceled though, so I hope we don't get left with a big cliffhanger. He is pathetic, right? I mean, again, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. You can't take that much at a plate and not expect to get hit. The way I grew up playing, you can do that. You can hang out over the plate. You tell me you can't pitch inside? I can't pitch inside because you want to hang over the plate? These guys don't know how to play the game. And they take offense at things they shouldn't take offense to. He should be expecting to get moved off the plate. And if he gets hit, he gets hit. They might go 161-1. I got to give us a chance to win one game. That's a good one, Danny. Good morning, Paul Spada. How are you? Danny, I meant to mention to you that Paul sent me a link to your college fantasy. I know I continue. I continue to put down fantasy sports, and I continue to play them. So I don't know what's up with that. I'm interested. I've never done college, so I'm interested in doing it and seeing how badly I can do. But I appreciate the opportunity to play and have some fun. Just let me know where the money's got to go, Danny. You'd go to you would go to two. Oh, I would go to two visions on the pitch clock. Pitch clock wouldn't be the first thing I got rid of, I don't think, of the new rules. You know, again, my biggest problem is, and again, the ABS thing is, I don't think it helps either offense or the defense or pitchers. But pretty much every rule change, am I wrong about this? You tell me again. Other than ABS, which affects both, every major rule change since 1968 has been to enhance offense. Tell me where I'm wrong. Prove me wrong, to use someone else's famous. Prove me wrong. Every major rule change since 1968. We lowered the mound. We changed the strike zone. The bats got harder. The ballparks got smaller. The DH. Did I mention the DH? Maybe I mentioned it. We had to change. We had to put rules in against spin rate. We had to put in a pitch clock. We had to make the baseline smaller. What else? Tell me one thing that has favored pitchers. Maybe the ABS, but I think that goes both ways. Actually, the way I've seen it, the way it affects hitters, I think it's helped pitchers more than hitters. Actually. Just the fact there's going to be fewer swings, fewer balls put into play. I mean, again, I guess instant replay in general might have helped both sides too. But I do. I care about Phil. It's Phil M, by the way, not Phil N. This is a guy that I loved watching play golf because he did stupid shit on the golf course. But since he went to live, I swear to God, this guy has gone off the rails. Now we're finding out maybe he wasn't such a good guy after all, because he was showing lewd pictures to another golfer's wife back in 2017 or 19. He just got kicked out of his golf club in San Diego for, again, supposedly harassing some woman. There's a guy whose reputation was really good, and now it's about as low as it can go. Who knows what else is out there? Yanks should go out and get Hunter Goodman from the Rockies. Hit 3 yesterday. 3 homers, 25 on the season, I believe, at the halfway point. Chased 50 home runs. He's not a very good defensive player, though, from what I understand. And a lefty. Yankees need to be better from the right side. But if he could play decent defense, I'd love to see him in Yankee Stadium. Japan, maybe they clean the stadium after the match. I didn't know that. So they clean the place they're playing. They clean the venue. They pick up all their garbage. That's fair. I didn't think I was going to get anybody to answer me on that question, by the way. Flows with us. Give me a little chin music over the plate. 100%. I mean, the pitch I just saw, and it wasn't a game, but the one from Friday night, it was barely inside. The one I just looked at when he got hit for the 6th time by Brandon Woodruff from Milwaukee, the ball was barely inside. He's hanging all over the plate. If you don't want to get hit, don't hang over the plate. Where do you think they're going to pitch you? Don Drysdale, Bob Gibson, they'd have hit this guy every single time. Not 6 times. They'd have hit him every time. You'll have 10 or 12 in that league. That's good. We played 2 years in a college fantasy, and it's actually my favorite fantasy league. Well, I'm willing to have one that gives me some joy again, because the ones I'm in now, I hate. Yeah, CA runs a good one here, though. We actually do a good one. I didn't hate ours last year, because I like it because there's some it doesn't ruin my viewing of sports, right? Baseball's hard because the ones I'm in are like daily. I forget all the time. I go on vacation. I'm playing golf. I forget there's day games. Who's got? I just don't have time. Something I can do once a week. That's why football's so much better. That's a good one. I pretty much would say every rule that's been put in the last 5 years or 6 years, whatever, should go. Every rule. Every rule change. And this one might be at the top. I agree, Matt. That's a good one. What's wrong with playing? I had this argument all the time with Jack Hirsch. What's wrong with playing 18 innings? We only did it for 150 years. Thank you. That's another good one. You don't need, we always put in rules for things we don't need to put in rules for, because there's a very easy way to stop teams from shifting. Hit the ball where they aren't. Oh, that makes too much sense, right? Remember the Mad New Yorker told me, it's too hard to do that. Pitchers are too good today. Bull crap. You shift on Tony Gwynn, he'd hit 500. Today. And he'd be 60-some years old, by the way. Here's a question for you, Rick. It is very sad to see his situation. I don't know what's happened to him. Maybe he was always this way, right? I mean, there are some guys you're not getting, you're getting disingenuous character when he's on TV or being interviewed. I know Goodman's a righty, but Yankee Stadium's not prohibitive for righties. And again, we need righties. Or did I say, I'm sorry, I think I probably misspoke. Or maybe I put the emphasis in the wrong place. Yankees need help on the right-handed side. And I knew Goodman was a righty. I'm sorry. I probably made it sound like my bad. Or maybe I sounded like he couldn't hit well in Yankee Stadium, because this isn't the prohibitive old Yankee Stadium where, it was 490 feet to dead center and 480 to Death Valley in left field. No one wins a prize today by telling me who this Yankee is, by the way. It's not that. It should be easy. Not for you, Matt. Don't cheat. What else we got going on today? We never run out of comments at 10:14. Wells' defense is better, but his bat's been non-existent. Escara can't hit. I really think the second half you may see more Ben Rice behind the plate, and if Goldschmidt continues to play as well as he has, which has been a huge surprise, but for me anyway. One of the few right-handed hitters who's hitting on this team. If Goldschmidt can keep that up, you may see Rice behind the plate more. I'd be all right. He was a former major league manager as well as a player for the Yankees, Royals. Michael, what with Mickelson and Tiger, golf needs to clean itself up, or else the PGA will have a bad boys tour. You know, they're not the faces of the game anymore, so I don't know if that's really an issue necessarily, Michael, because they don't play in a PGA tour really anymore. Tiger, because of personal issues and injuries, to be fair, and Mickelson because of moving to live, and I don't think they're going to welcome him back. And they're old. So, you know, the younger guys, the Scotty Schefflers of the world are the face of the tour now. Scotty, Rory. Yeah, Rory's had a few off the course issues, but Thorsby. Oh, Flo, don't get me going. They have given you nationwide publicity. I will say, though, Flo, because of, and this might be a good time to have this conversation, because I know we kind of went back and forth in a post here a week or two ago. You know, there's lots of blame to go around here. But I know you wanted Cincinnati to be called out the same way Texas Tech was. But again, since there's no evidence that Cincinnati knew anything about his proclivities while he was there. Indiana apparently didn't know when he was there, and that's where he did most of this, or most, if not all of this gambling. I guess he did it with Cincinnati too, but he didn't bet on Cincinnati. He bet on Indiana when he was there. But they didn't know. Show me some evidence other than, you know, social media that they did know, and then I'll say they deserve some blame. Texas Tech is the one that kept defending this kid and fighting and backing him in lawsuits and threatening lawsuits of their own once he was first cleared to play, threatening lawsuits to the rest of the Big 12 if they took any actions against teams, you know, about them being allowed to play in the league because they were playing a guy who knowingly had gambled on games. There's no way they, and again, they probably didn't know this when he transferred. I'm not saying they did, but they probably should have cut ties with him immediately, because the rules are, again, this is the problem with the NCAA. The programs and the ADs and the presidents, they put in all these rules, and then when they get broken, they sue whoever they can sue to make sure that they are implemented or used against certain players or programs. What's the sense of pushing for rules and regulations, but then anytime they get broken, somebody's going to sue so it doesn't affect them? The NCAA and all of their programs have just gotten silly. But, you know, and this kid, kudos to the NFL, by the way. I mean, the only reason, and they said this, and when they said there would not be a supplemental draft this year, and I said to you when we talked about this situation in the past, that I thought it was no better than 50-50 that the NFL would allow him in this year. Now, they're not going to be able to stop him. They can stop him from entering the regular NFL draft. They could stop him, but they're not going to do that, because if they do that, they open themselves up to more lawsuits and antitrust violations. And no sports league, when you mention the word antitrust, they all fold. So he's going to be in that draft, and the question is going to be who's going to take him. Now, the NFL could ban him. Don't see that happen. The CFL has told all their, by the way, where's he going to play? So he doesn't have to like sit and rust for a year. Can't play in the CFL because they have said they have told their teams they cannot sign him. There's a UFL, I suppose. Those teams are desperate for publicity. Who is the quarterback there now, by the way? It just struck me, by the way. I know that's kind of a weird segue, but who's the quarterback now for Texas Tech? And there was another comment, and I know that Can didn't really was kind of surprised by my comment. They don't have, their schedule is not that hard. If their offense is nearly as good as it was last year, if this team is nearly as good as it was last year, this team could go undefeated. And I don't say that because Ken knows I'm not just going to, because we disagreed on this whole Sorsby thing. But I'm telling you that if this team, let me find their schedule, and we're going to talk more about this when we come back. Again, the college football huddle is on hiatus for the month of the rest of June and for July, and we'll be back probably the 1st of August. We could break in with breaking news, but I can see his team run the table. I got to see how good they are first, right? But when you look at the schedule, Abilene Christian, Oregon State, Houston is at home, Sam Houston, at Colorado, Arizona State, that's at home, at Cincinnati, Arizona at home, West Virginia at home, at Oklahoma State, at Baylor, at TCU, I'm sorry, at TCU at home. This team could run the table. At 38 gold, he's playing great, man. I thought he was done last year. And again, even early this year, his bat, and you still see it, right? The bat speed, especially against righties with good, even lefties, but righties specifically with really good stuff, really throwing the ball hard. His bat speed is greatly diminished. But he's had a great run here to last, since the 1st of May. It is still going. In fact, here in the Albany area, it's going strong, despite a lot of efforts by the people that own teams in the league itself to destroy it, because the league keeps folding, it reinvents itself. But the Albany team here is played 4 and won championships a lot the last 5 years since it came back. It was originally here in the 90s, and they had really great teams, really good turnouts too. 10,000 people in the MVP arena for arena football. It's not terribly strong league, unfortunately. There's certain areas that it's strong. Albany's always been a good city for it, but first they lost a team that moved in the original Arena League. Then we did have a team here for maybe, 20 years. And they came back, and Albany was really good. They didn't use the Firebird name, which they used originally in the 90s. They used the Empire. They're back to the Firebirds now. But when they were the Empire, they were winning too. And then Antonio Brown bought the team and ran into the ground. They ended up folding during the season after they would won back-to-back championships. So it's still a thing, Michael, but just not, a really profitable thing. Maybe and if he's got to go play arena football, that's probably not a great sign. Arena and European, not too bad till the NFL gets here. I can't watch, man. UFL sucks. Arena football watch because it's different, it's fun, it's not pretending to be the NFL, right? I watch some of these UFL games. It looks like they're playing on high school fields. But if he's going to play, the UFL's where he's going to play. Will Heyman's still there. That's right. Played some last year and got hurt. Coking off an ACL. Not sure what that is. Coking off an ACL. Not sure. I'm sure that's a misprint. I mean, he's still a good quarterback. And if this team plays as well, if they're as good around the quarterback as they were last year, the defense was pretty good, and they lost some stellar guys off that defense, both on the line and linebackers, right? But that schedule's not that hard. They don't have to be as good as last year to actually win 10 games for sure, maybe 11 or 12. It's not impossible. Now, one of these teams that I just berated will be better than what I thought. Probably Kirk Francis for the first 2-3 games until Hammond's ready. We have a great running back group, and the offensive line's very good. Listen, I liked our running game last year, actually. I think the bigger problem for Texas Tech, again, is going to be on the defensive side of football because you've got a couple of really good players you got to replace. But they might. Is there a league in Europe, Matt? What league is in Europe now? I don't even know. Where's Jack Del Rio coaching? Let me check this out. I didn't even know Europe had a league anymore since the NFL Europe or whatever faded. Where is he? Paris Musketeers re-signed head coach Jack Del Rio. AFL or AFI. What is this? AF. They're playing right now. Son of a gun. I didn't even know they were playing any real football in Europe right now. So kudos to them. Maybe he'll go play there. Oh, the season's over. And it's unlikely he's going to play there next summer once the draft is gone. So what's he got? The UFL's playing now, isn't it? When's the UFL season start? This will probably be one of the few times we talk about the UFL on this. Let's see. Jesus, they've already finished their league. So he's not going to play in the UFL. Europe's in the middle of their season. So there's going to be no place for Sorsby to play before the draft next April. Because you're not going to play in one of these leagues and risk getting hurt just before the draft, if they're even playing. This kid has messed up his whole situation. I think it's the AFL. From what I just saw here. AF, is that AFI or AFL? I just saw something here that said what it was. American Football International is the name of the league. What's interesting, too, is 3 days ago, Wisconsin hired him as a special advisor, Luke Fickell. Interesting. What else is going on? You know, speaking of football, so two things about the NFL. We've got horrible charges against Teron Arnold in Detroit. This guy, talented player, certainly got some problems off the field. If these things are true, this kid could spend the rest of his life in prison. And Geno Smith, if these battery charges against him come to any fruition, then the Jet season may be over before it starts. On the field, well, it's not even on the field. Ayuk is blaming his agent for everything that ever went wrong between him and the 49ers, which is a bunch of malarkey. Because he sits here and continues to torch the team even after he blames the agent for the relationship issues. How about taking some ownership? You decided not to play. You had a contract. You decided not to play. If the agent told you not to play, then he gave you bad advice and you should have said, no, I'm getting a new agent. Agents, advisors, whatever they are, they don't make the decision. You do. They give you advice. How about, this is the problem with a lot of the world today, by the way. Nobody takes accountability for their own actions. I make a mistake, I blame me. Made a lot of them in my life. No matter the circumstances, at the end of the day, I'm at fault. He's at fault. He's trying to force his way to Washington. If I'm Washington, I don't know if I'm taking on the baggage this guy's got. The first time he's unhappy, he's not going to show up to work. And the other piece of news here this weekend, not surprising, I don't think, is that the Bills have decided that O.J. Simpson and his contributions to that franchise will not be recognized in their new stadium. Which, by the way, Rick, I had seen that video earlier in the week that you sent me yesterday or the day before. Kathy Hochul, our beloved governor, I say with great contempt. So a stadium that I'm paying for basically out there in her hometown, not me, I'm not paying the whole thing. I get that, but you know what I mean. She's there trying to lead a chant amongst the people that had showed up at the opening of the stadium the other day. And nobody, it was crickets. She's going, let's go Buffalo, let's go Buffalo. And nobody, maybe 3 people joined in. It was hilarious. I love to see her and her public faux pas because, Danny, as much as I joke with you about California, we are off the rails here, man. Something terrible. The Democratic Socialists have made so many inroads here that it's going to be scary going forward. But in any event, can't subsidize irresponsibility and expect people to become more responsible. Thomas Sowell. That's fair. Everybody in the world, everybody in life is responsible for their own actions. Have I gotten bad advice in my life? Yep, but I took it. I'm the guy who took it. Right? Anything that, and again, my life is pretty good right now, knock on wood. Knock on wood. And I've had a pretty good life. I really have. But there's been down times in my life and, you know, down days, down years. You know, the common denominator for all of that? Me. I don't know why that's so hard for people. Oh, I don't know. What do I know? So I'm trying to throw out a couple more comments. Oh, Wimbledon, too. We didn't talk about Wimbledon. Just trying to throw a couple things that I had mentioned at the top that might draw up some comments here for the next 20 minutes or so, 20, 25 minutes. Wimbledon gets started, I think, this week, or very shortly, if not this week. And Serena Williams is back after a long layoff. She did play in Berlin here a couple of weeks ago. I think she won a match and then lost. She originally was going to play doubles with her sister only, and now she's going to play singles. I don't think she's going to be a factor in the singles. I'm happy to see her play. It's fine. I think she might win a match and then be out the second round, maybe third round. But I think winning one match would be an achievement for her at this point. Now, with her sister, they could be a factor in the doubles. I think that'd be interesting to see. The movie Pressure about, I want to see that. Who plays Eisenhower? Is that Brendan Fraser? Is that right? Plays Eisenhower? I do want to see that. You know what's funny? I've really gotten out of the habit. I don't watch a lot of movies. I watch Marvel movies, right? I watch the DC movies. And there's certainly watched oh God. The movie about the Oppenheimer. Watch Oppenheimer. Watch movies like that. But I used to watch a lot of movies, right? You know, in the old days of Blockbuster and um, the other, you know, movie rental places, when we went and rented all these VHSs and then DVDs. You know, I'd go get 4 movies for a weekend in the wintertime. I don't watch 4 movies now in a month, maybe 6 months, because the other stuff, the original programming on Prime and Netflix and Apple, HBO, is so good that it's better than the movies, because they tell these 6-hour limited series are better than movies because they can flesh out characters better. The storytelling's better. The writing's better. I'll go watch some movies. I'll watch Pressure, right? But I've gotten into, and I don't go to the movies at all. I haven't been to a movie since COVID. Watch here in the comfort of my living room. Oh, there you go. That doesn't go either. I'm on a Roku now. When we moved 3 years ago, I went to Roku and get rid of all my Fire Sticks. Actually, there's this thing you can buy at Walmart even now that they say is as good as the jailbreaks with the old jailbreak Fire Sticks, man. So I'm a big movie guy, and I really have migrated towards these limited series, or even things that aren't limited. I guess they're play out over multiple seasons, but there's a lot of these limited series that are just going to be one and done, and there's 6 episodes. It's really good stuff. And Michael, if you're still with us, your guys over there in the UK, man, do some great stuff when it comes to these limited series and even the continuing series. But at worst, they're 10 episodes, and they tell the whole arc will be one season. And some of them are just one and done 6-episode arcs and are really good. I can't think of the name of one right now, but I think the one that you referred to earlier, Matt, that could be a UK production, I think, itself. I'm almost certain. Maybe it's not. Oh, no, that's Harlan Coben, right? He's got a lot of stuff out. Really good stuff, Harlan Coben. There's too much on cable than go to the theater. Much cheaper, too. I agree. It's better. For the most part, it's better. I'm going to watch, what's the new one with Disclosure Day. I'll watch that when it comes out. I might even pay. Sometimes I pay so I don't have to wait till it's free. But I'll watch it at home. I'll watch the new one with, the guy goes to the sun. I don't remember the name now. So I'll watch some movies, but the original programming is just so much better. Yeah, I just, my wife, I'd have to go watch it by myself. My wife would never watch any of the Jackass movies. And to be honest with you, I'm not a huge fan of them myself. It's a little bit lowbrow for me, but if I come across them on TV, I'm liable to sit and watch some of it and laugh, because funny's funny. But I've just never been a huge fan. What's the guy's name? Billy something, isn't it? What's that guy's name? What do you got, Flo? Back in the day, Connors, McEnroe, Lendl, Becker, Verlander. I watch after the NBA Finals because nothing for me to watch since I wasn't into baseball. Classic tennis. Those were great. I come across a lot of Jimmy Connors clips when I'm scrolling through YouTube, and some of them are classic, man. I mean, those guys, that was great tennis. Great tennis. And there's some other guys you don't even mention in there that, they were Eli Nastase. Not one of the greats of the game, but so much fun to watch. Man, I like some of the bad boy stuff in tennis. Connors and McEnroe and Stasi. I mean, Lendl and Becker were much different players, right? Hell, the men today has gotten a little bit stale for me. I mean, but the rivalry between Federer and the Spaniard, what's his name? Nadal, Rafael Nadal. Great theater. You forgot Boris Borg in this listing here. McEnroe and Borg at Wimbledon. Classic. Johnny Knoxville, thank you. Well, we'll have to check that out. SISU. I do like action movies. You know, coming back right now, pretty soon on, I think it's on Prime, is Reacher. The Reacher series is really great. I mean, I read the Reacher books, and they're really well done. And when they made movies, a couple of movies with Tom Cruise, it was ridiculous because Tom Cruise did not fit the character even a little bit. But the guy who plays it now, and it's funny because I don't know any actors' names anymore, or very few. But the guy who plays Reacher now is just a perfect fit. And the first 3 seasons were awesome. I think it's the 4th season that they're coming out with now. So that's another great one. Rick says Johnny Knoxville. Yannick Noah, father of what's his the guy who played for the Bulls and played at Florida when they won back-to-back championships. What's his name? Yeah, I want to say Joaquin. I don't think that's right. What was his son's name? What? Cat stretching next to me. What was his name? I know you'll give it to me, Flo. Ran out of characters, limited space. Reacher, good stuff, right? Tough times coming, yes. Keith, I wouldn't worry about New York becoming like London. That won't happen. Consequences for New York City aren't avoidable, but they're long overdue, just like some other states. I don't know if long overdue because of the way they vote and have voted over the years. I agree. But right now, the consequences are we're going a different direction, which is not going to be healthy here's the thing. You know, the people who lean towards the Mandamis of the world don't understand what they're voting for. You know, social democracies don't work. I don't want to get into a huge political discussion here, but look at Venezuela, and it's a shame what's happened there this week, by the way. But look at them. 30 years ago, they were a thriving democracy. And the Social Democrats and Hugo Chavez take over, and it becomes one of the most impoverished nations in the world. It doesn't work. No, it's not Alan Holz. It's Alan Richman. Not Alan Rickman, obviously. It is Alan something. Alan Richson, yeah. He was in a movie, War Machine 2, recently. It's a very similar character to Reacher, I think. But it was a pretty good flick, if you like action flicks. Andre Agassi was just an answer on Jeopardy the other night, actually. Hakeem Noah, thank you. Is that right? It's a question mark. I don't think that's right. It is Joaquin. Yeah, I had it right. Thank you, Flo. You know, it's funny, my mind, I just doubt my answers sometimes because I struggle so much. I had this because we watch Jeopardy. I just mentioned Jeopardy. We watch Jeopardy every night. And I used to be really good. I'd rattle off, you know, I used to tell people I never get an answer wrong because I watch with the sound off. But I used to really pull answers. I get a lot right. The hard part is like being able to do it. I've taken the test a gazillion times. And it's too hard. I can't type fast enough to get the answers in. You only got like 15 seconds to answer a question, and I know the answer and I can't type it in right. So anyway, I've never been able to advance to any further than taking the test online. But it wouldn't matter now anyway, because I don't have the recall. People think when they get older, they forget stuff. I don't believe that. I still believe I know everything that I used to know, which is mostly useless information, just by the way. But, you know, I'm going to be 66 years old in a couple of weeks. The files, you can't pull the file fast enough. The information's there. I know it. I hear the answer. I go, shit, I knew that. Excuse my French. But I couldn't pull it out fast enough. That's the thing. It's about speed of recall. It's not recalling it. A lot of stuff I know. Oh, crap. I'll wake up in the middle of the night and go, I know that. Plus, we rely on this thing too much, right? As soon as I don't know something, instead of sitting here trying to figure it out and pull that file, I can look it up on the little box. Good stuff. Joaquin Noah. Then I doubt myself when I have the answer right. Ron Guidry, 1978. Fab. What a great year. 25-3. He had like 18 or 20 wins that followed Yankee losses that year. Tremendous. I think he should have been the MVP, quite frankly. Jim Rice got the MVP. Guidry won the Cy Young, but I thought he should have been MVP that year. Granted, I'm a little biased. But when you have that many, let me just check my number. It was at least, I want to say it was at least 18. Let's see if I'm wrong. Wins, Guidry, let me see. Guidry wins. Let's see if I get this. 25-3. Won his first 13 games. Struck out 18 Angels. They don't give me the answer to what I'm asking here. I don't know a better way to ask this. Let's see. How many? I think it was 18. I was wrong. 22. How is that not the MVP of the league? 22 of his 25 wins came after Yankee losses. That's phenomenal. 1.74 ERA, struck out what? I don't know, 250 or so. I take that back. So, well, one place it says 22 of his 25 victories and starts following. Oh, I'm sorry. It was 19-3. So 22 starts, 19 wins in game. That's phenomenal. That's the definition of MVP right there. Now, Jim Rice had a great, great season. And the Red Sox, quite frankly, would not have been that one-game playoff without Jim Rice. But I will, until I die, say Ron Guidry was the MVP that year. 14. They won 19 games, though. It was my point. I can't find that anywhere, Rick, by the way. It says 19 for him, though. Well, 14 is the number of games that were behind the Red Sox. So I don't know if that's what you're telling me, Rick, or not. But I'm getting 19-3 was a record in those 22 starts after Yankee losses. 14 is how many games they were behind the Red Sox, so in July. Yeah, that's what I see. 321 seasons for Ron. I mean, nothing matched 78, right? I mean, he was a very good pitcher after that, but not nearly as good as he was in 78 ever. Had a few injuries. One of the best Yankees, though, over a short period of time. Little guy, too. Did a great job as a Yankee pitching coach, too, under Torre and Girardi. I think he pitched. I think he might have been a pitching coach for a little bit under Girardi. Definitely under Torre. Louisiana Lightning. MVP. MVP. And what I'm looking here is a little bit unclear whether that was, whether that was the team record was 19-3 in those losses or his record was 19-3. I seem to remember 18 or 19 wins. Rick, you could be right. Still, yeah, absolutely still shows up at camp. Still in great shape, too. I love Ryan Guidry is one of my favorites. He's a part of a lot of my passwords, by the way. I can't give you all the players that are part of my passwords because you figure out all my passwords. But there are several players. Guidry, Nettles, Munson, Bobby, Mercer, my guy. I'll show up in my passwords in one form or another, some order. You're never going to figure it out, so don't try. I can barely figure it out. He also lost, I think, the 3 losses he had. No, that's not right. God, he was good that year, wasn't he? Good conversation, Matt. Thanks for taking us down that road. What else you guys got as we head out the door here? Let me check something here quick. I want to look at so they had the finalist for, no, I lost it. I lost it now. Oh, here it is. The finalists for the All-Star game. So we have an initial voting because we can't do anything that's just simple, right? Major League Baseball. Hence, we're going to be heading towards a work stoppage. More to come on that. But just to keep it on the field, the finalists for the All-Star game at each position in each league. Catcher, the American League. Shane Langoliers from Oakland. Kirk from the Blue Jays. First base, Vlad Jr. from the Blue Jays. Ben Rice from the Yankees. Third base, Yakamoto from the Blue Jays. And Junior Camarino from the Braves. Shortstop, Bobby Witt, most underrated player in the American League, by the way. And Jimenez from the Blue Jays. Where's the shortstop? Shortstop was, I got that. Outfield, Judge, Trout, Buxton, Bellinger, Dalton Varsho from the Blue Jays, and Jesus Sanchez from the Blue Jays. Designated hitter, Alvarez from the Astros, Springer from the Blue Jays. And the National League, Drake Baldwin and Will Smith at catcher. First base, Freddie Freeman and Matt Olson. Interesting. Second base, Albies from the Braves and Bryson Stott from the Phillies. Third base, Max Muncy, who hasn't played a lot, against Alex Baum. Feels like a popularity contest, some of these races. C.J. Abrams at shortstop and Mookie Betts from the Dodgers. Outfield, Pages from the Dodgers, Marsh from the Phillies, Acuna from the Braves, Hernandez from the Dodgers, Soto from the Mets, Harris from the Braves. And where's the DH? They don't do one. They don't do a DH. They aren't going to give me one. Anyway, there's your. So that vote will take place this week, and then we'll have the starters and the reserves announced for the game that will be played here in just a few weeks. Not sure that I'm going to be here. What we got here? A good one. David Clayton Thomas. Blood, Sweat, and Tears, right? Lead singer. Very underrated band in my mind. And rest in peace to him this week. Passed away, I think, what was he, about 70, 74, something like that. So good call there, Matt. Well, that'll do it for us today. Thanks for joining, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow morning with Jack with the weekend playbook at 8 a.m. Eastern. I'll be back on the roundtable show at 6. Again, the college football huddle is on. Was he 84? Wow. I thought he was in his 70s. I'm getting old. And we'll have Friday. Friday we'll have the playbook. Next Sunday we'll be live with the Stream of Consciousness. And then we're going to be leaving for vacation on the 7th, going to Alaska, and we'll be back around the 18th. I don't know what'll happen with shows in between. I'll try to keep you guys up to date on what we're going to do. Sometimes when we're traveling, it's kind of hit and miss because I don't know about excursions and whatnot. We got a lot of excursions in Alaska, more than the normal vacation we take. 7 cruises right now. We just booked another one. There are 7 cruises in the pipeline between now and the first part of or middle of 28. Yikes. Anyway, it's a go-go years. Guy told me the last time we were on vacation on a cruise ship, he said 65 to 75 is a go-go years. 75 to 85 is the slow-go years. And after 85 are the no-go years. So we're going to spend it while we got it. So we're going to have some fun. We're going to have a lot of fun. We'll have some fun today, too. You guys, thanks for tuning in, and thanks for participating. As always, you guys are wonderful. I appreciate all the help. This is your show, and I have so much fun doing it the way we do it. So thank you so much. You guys have a great day. Bye. Thank you.